Hey there guys, my name's the Reaper, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a butcher's at Warhammer the End Times Vermintide. So just quickly for those of you who aren't aware, taking a butcher's is an English phrase meaning basically to have a brief look at something. So the purpose of these videos is to be kind of a split between a review, a let's play and a first impressions, predominantly a first impressions. So say for example, you go onto Steam, log in, advertisement pops up for a new game, you think, oh, that looks quite interesting, might have a look at that, that's up my alley. Or say a friend, as they often do, says, oh, have you heard about this game? I think you really like this, you should take a look. You think, alright, I'll have a look. These are kind of the videos for you. So the objective of these videos is by the end of them, if a game's caught your eye, you take a look at the video. Hopefully by the end of the video you'll have determined whether or not this is for you, whether or not you want to put some money down to buy this game. So it's the focus is on informing and advising consumers. So that out of the way. End Times Warhammer is... It's been described, I think, quite accurately as Left 4 Dead meets the Warhammer Fantasy Universe. I think that's quite an accurate description. Basically, it's a multiplayer 4-player co-op game. You're competing in a series of objective-based missions with 3 other people, so a 4-man team, again, like Left 4 Dead or something like Payday 2. You're working together as a team to fight against hordes of Skaven, who, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Warhammer Fantasy Universe, they're basically a horde of semi-intelligent, sentient rat men. Quite nasty, so there's going to be hordes of them coming. You've got to fight your way through, complete your objective, work as a team, special enemies to defeat, boss fights. Again, very reminiscent. Anyone who's played Left 4 Dead is kind of thinking, I've heard this before. Very similar setup, but I think it does it very well. Warhammer Fantasy Universe, it's got a much bigger focus, unsurprisingly, on melee combat as opposed to range, but I think the system works quite well. I've been quite impressed with this game of what I've played through it so far. So you've got 5 different heroes to choose from. So if I just quickly switch on to hero selection and press escape. So you've got 5 different guys to choose from. Nice thing about this is they're not just reskins of each other. They do can play completely differently, got different sets of weapons, as well as just looking aesthetically and sounding different. So we've got Victor Saltspire, who's our witch hunter. He's pretty cool. So he's got a series of kind of different swords. So he's got sort of quicker one-handed sword and pistols, lots of different pistol options. So he's got kind of experimental repeater, kind of 8-barreled pistols. He can dual wield them. He's got a couple of other different black powder weapons and kind of heavier and lighter different sword options as well. He's pretty cool. I'll be playing as him when I start the game in a minute, just as a demonstration. You got Carillion, who is our Wood Elf Way Watcher. So unsurprisingly, a lot of bow options, different types of bows, work slightly differently, different arrow options. Melee attack, she's got kind of light one-handed swords or kind of dual-wielding daggers. So in melee she's kind of lower damage, quicker attacks than say some of the other characters. You've got Bardin, who's pretty cool. Dwarves are pretty cool, obviously, as we know. He's got a lot of shield options. He's got a few different 2-handed weapon options, or he can do one-handed weapon and shield. He can be quite flexible. He's also got a couple of crossbows he can use very slightly, and he's got a kind of 2-handed black powder shotgun, which is pretty cool, dwarven made. You've got Sienna, who is our Bright Wizard. That's basically a fire wizard. She's got quite a cool kind of miscast mechanic. So basically she has a variety of different spells she can use. That's kind of her main role. Does have a flaming melee sword as well. But she's kind of got more of a range focus. She's got a cool mechanic which is based off kind of miscasting that you get if anyone's played the Warhammer tabletop game. Basically she's got a variety of spell options. So she can do big sort of fire AoE spells, which is going to blow a load of enemies up. She can set wards down, which act kind of like mine. She can do sort of high single target damage, or fire sort of several little sort of rapid fire bolts out to take a load of enemies out. Problem is, well, I'd say problem, you've got a system of managing your kind of spell power. So if you try and drop loads of spells and panic, loads of big sort of powerful spells all at once, you're going to do kind of miscast damage, you're going to affect yourself. So you've got a kind of system of managing how much power you use, which is quite an interesting mechanic. But she's very fun to play as. And we've got Marcus Gruber, who's our Empire Soldier. He plays fairly similarly to the Witch Hunter. He's got slightly different weapon options. So he's got the option of the 2-handed White Wolf Hammer, which is very satisfying. Which is kind of a big, heavy, armor-piercing. One-shots pretty much everyone. Really cool to use. A couple of big sword options as well. Got a few different ranged weapons as opposed to Gruber. So he's got a big black powder blunderbuss, which is quite cool. So these guys all play quite differently, which is nice. I'm going to be using Victor, as I said, just for the demonstration. But they all play quite differently. They are noticeably different as you play them. Victor just happens to be my favourite, but they're not just reskins, which is quite nice. So, return to game. So the weapons I've got, I'll just give you a brief sort of demonstration of the weapons in the inn. So this is kind of your starting centre. When you first start the game, you'll come in here. So you can select missions from here, forge weapons, which I'll show later, and you can tinker with your weapon inventory here. So I'm currently using as my melee weapons. You get a melee and a ranged weapon. The Templar Zweihander, which is my big two-handed sword. So two-handed weapons as opposed to one-handed weapons. Going to give you a bigger swing arc, generally do more damage. So you can do regular attacks, which I'm just chaining together here, so you can hit a few people with these. Or if you hold it down, you can do a slower charged attack. You can chain these together as well, which is going to do more damage and give you kind of a bigger swing arc. And charged attacks are also armor piercing as well. So if you come across any bigger, tougher armored enemies, which I can show you later in the game, you're going to be wanting using bigger attacks. You can also block. You can see the stamina here, so you've got 3 sort of bars of stamina with a two-handed weapon. Generally, so if you take hits on this when you're blocking, it's going to prevent damage, it's going to drain your stamina. Also, what you can do if you get surrounded, you can take a few hits with blocking. You can burn one of your stamina points to do that sort of push attack. You can see the stamina does regenerate there even if you are blocking. So take a few hits on your sword, push them back, and then you can do a big kind of sweep attack to kind of take them all out. So if you get surrounded, you've got kind of a block to defend yourself, you can push them back, and then once they're sort of staggered, take them down with some swings. Also got ranged weapons, so I've gone with the dual wield pistols here. So basically I can just, these are going to take out kind of one shot most sort of standard issue rank and file enemies. So I can take out guys quite easily with these are quite fun to use. Nice sound asset as well, sound really beefy. Or if I hold down as my kind of charge attack, I can hold down the right mouse button, hold down the click. If it gets surrounded, just lay these down, really satisfying, quite impressive sounding, really cool fun. Burns a lot of ammo, but it's good fun to use, and great if you get surrounded. Just to be able to do that, burn down a lot of enemies with your cool pistols. Very useful indeed. But even within characters, they play different with each other. However, you've also got a few different playstyle options within themselves. So for example, instead of my two-handed sword, I could switch to my rapier, which is a one-handed weapon, so that's going to give me quicker attacks. And for my ranged weapon, I could say I could switch to my recurve crossbow. So my melee attacks, instead of being the kind of slower, higher damage attacks that the two-handed weapon has, I get kind of quicker, lower damage attacks. And also, as I'm only using a one-handed weapon, Victor can't use shields, but he do get, as his theme, he gets his pistols. So I get a guy come up to me, as I'm only using a one-handed weapon, I can use a pistol in my offhand. So if I press that button, don't have to switch weapon, I can just bring my pistol out. So a guy comes up to me, pistol him just to finish him off if I want, which is quite nice. Good fun that. And my ranged weapon, instead of having the pistols out, which are kind of more rapid fire, better at taking out kind of hordes of sort of squishier enemies. Crossbow, single shot, but I can zoom in like that, very accurate from range, and it's going to take out kind of most armoured enemies. So any special enemies, which you'll have a little demonstration of later, or storm vermin, which are kind of elite armoured enemies, a bit harder to take down. The crossbow is going to be armour piercing. You can get headshots with this as well, so better at taking out single target damage. So you've got a variety of play options, even within different characters. So I'm just going to switch back, because I do prefer the two-handed sword. And I'm going to switch to pistols as well. So this is just my preferred loadout. Oops, forgot to switch there. Where are we? There we are, got my bigger sword out. So I do prefer using the two-handed weapons generally, but you've got a variety of options. You may not want to do that. You can switch out any time, just before you go into a mission. So there's your 2 slots. Primary, secondary, range. Third slot even is your healing items. So you'll all start the game with a potion of health. This is just going to get a bit of health back. As you progress throughout the game, you're going to find more health potions. You can only carry one at a time in your third slot. You can also find stuff like bandages. So bandages act like first aid kits in Left 4 Dead. Again, I'm making a lot of Left 4 Dead comparisons, I know. They can be used to heal yourself. They heal a bit more, and you can use them to kind of heal allies if you want as well. So you've got an ally on low health. The potions can only use for self-heal, but if you find some bandages, switch for them. You can use them to heal your teammates as well. It just kind of gives you a few more options. Your 4th slot, you're going to start with your 4th and 5th slot empty. Your 4th slot, when you come across them as you go through the games, that's going to be your buff potion slot. So you can come across potions of strength and potions of speed. So if, say, you find a potion of strength, a lot of heavily armoured enemies, or just a big horde of them come along at once, you can pop your potion of strength, and that's going to give you a temporary damage boost. Same potion of speed, just gets you to your allies quicker. Obviously you move quicker, it's a potion of speed. Your 5th slot is your bomb slot. As a potions, you can find these lying around throughout the missions. So you can just basically pick these up. They're basically the same as grenades, but just obviously they're black powder weapons because you're in a fantasy universe. Chuck those, big boom, kill loads of enemies. Everyone has a good time. So that pretty much covers it, I think. Also, right from the off, this game does look really nice. I've got most of the settings on high. Some of them, I think shadows have turned down to medium. Even then, just on high or medium, this game does look absolutely brilliant, I think. Really nice texture work. Just everything looks great. And I've got no complaints whatsoever on that front. I think it looks really good. I think they've done a great job as well of capturing kind of the essence of an Empire City. As you go through the levels, it does feel exactly like you would feel an Empire City from the Warhammer Fantasy Universe to look. It does look absolutely brilliant. So I think that just about covers the preliminaries. So I'm just going to stop here. Okay, so I thought I'd just briefly show you the kind of server browser. So that map in the middle of the end, if you press E on that, that's going to give you the mission select screen. You're not going to have all these missions initially unlocked. You kind of unlock them progressively. So the first mission is the Horn of Magnus, which is kind of your only starting mission. It's kind of your prologue sort of entry-level tutorial mission. So if you play that, it's going to unlock a few more. Play through those, you'll unlock a few more, etc, etc, until you get to kind of the ending mission. Although you can still go back, obviously, and play the others whenever you want. So you can select any mission you want. Difficulty, you'll only have normal and easy initially, and then you can unlock hard and Nightmare Cataclysm. Once you play through, you unlock the harder difficulties, just so you don't join a game that you're not kind of. So say someone's playing on Nightmare difficulty and you're a new player, you haven't got very much good gear, you're not very skilled, it just stops you joining high level games if the game doesn't think you're ready for it, just as a way of that. So you can select any mission you like, press play, and it will try and join that mission for you. A few advanced options here, so search distance, fairly obvious, near, medium and far. Generally going to want to set that to near, just so you don't get lag. Hero filter, if you join a game, you can't have a game with duplicate heroes, so if you want to play as the Empire Soldier and there's already an Empire Soldier, you're going to have to pick a different hero. If you join a game and you've got a hero selected and that hero is already in the game, it's normally going to give you the option of saying, this game's started, it's the mission you wanted, but your hero has already been taken. Do you want to pick one of the other heroes? So you can do that and join a game. This is just going to prevent that from happening, so you'll only ever join a game where your hero that you're playing as is an option. Host game and auto ready. One thing initially is a bit of a weird one. I had to re-record this. On these options, there's no option to only join a game that hasn't started yet. So for example, if you wanted to start a game right from the start, you didn't want to jump halfway through or end up jumping into a game that had nearly finished, there isn't an option to do that on here. Weirdly, I had to re-record this after I fact-checked this. I went on Reddit, actually found out if you press L, that's actually going to bring up the server browser. So once you find some missions on here, you can actually set this to status in. And obviously you can select between difficulties, what mission you want. So it is a proper server browser, and it's going to tell you where it's based as well, so you can avoid lag. So I could join a game from the UK. So you can join a game that's set to the in, so you're only going to start the mission once you've joined. Weirdly, it's kind of a weird thing, they don't tell you that. I only found out about this just by searching online, because I was convinced the only way to do it was to go through the mission map board here and do it that way. But if you press L, there is an option to join games from the start. I'm not sure why they don't tell you this. I think one of the excuses was they're still working on the layout. But there it is, press L, you can get a proper kind of server browser up. So you do have an option, unlike what I thought initially, of joining a game right from the start. So just clean that up. So default, L key, press that in the in, you'll get that server browser. Just kind of a better way of joining a game more sort of akin to what you want to join. So I'm going to have a brief cut, I'm going to join a game just to show you the gameplay.
Practically empty, so I want you out there, fetching, carrying and fighting. Load them into the cargo ship and do it quick.
So first mission up, cool little opening cinematic. So if you forget to change your weapons, you can do start of every mission. You've got the inventory. So one thing I do really love, you normally get it at the start of all the missions, but you get it kind of throughout the game as well. Loads of sort of back and forth banter between the character. They kind of talk about other events that are going on. So at one point they kind of speculate about what's happened to the other cities. They talk about other locations in the Warhammer universe. So, excuse me, if you're a Warhammer fan, you're going to have a really good time with this. Adds just a nice little sort of layer of depth and kind of atmosphere to the game. All the characters have kind of personalities. They'll scold each other if you sort of make a mistake. They'll sort of joke, oh, that you get up, come on. Like if you get down and they have to get you up, they'll kind of joke that you're a bit of a wuss, you need to walk it off. If you get a good hit, you take out a special enemy, they'll sort of congratulate you. And they'll kind of wind each other up a bit as well. It's cool sense of camaraderie and just adds a bit more depth to the characters. Really nice little touch. Voice acting also helps, spot on. All the characters sound great. And all the line delivery is really nice as well, which is great. So this mission, we have to escort all these barrels of gunpowder or black powder in this case, to our boat here. So we're going to score 8 barrels whilst fighting off all these hordes of Skaven. The thing is, if you're carrying some black powder, you can't fight, and if you take too many hits or you drop it, it's going to light up and it's going to explode. So you've got to escort your teammates across. The game consistently, actually, across all the missions, does a really good job of kind of forcing you to work together as a team. So even on the lower difficulties, it does a really good job of kind of easing you into working as a team. So for example, if you miss a couple of swings, or you kind of end up taking more hits than you like, you can take a few extra hits. Missing the odd swing isn't going to punish you, but what is going to punish you, which is a nice little thing, is if you don't work as a team, so you get separated. The special enemies, much like in Left 4 Dead 2, again I know Left 4 Dead comparisons, if you don't work as a team, a special can jump on you, incapacitate you, and you can only be rescued by another teammate. They're going to have to get you up or pull the special off. They're going to have to kill it. So if you get separated, you do something stupid, that the game is going to penalise you for it. However, if you work as a team, you keep your eyes open, you should come out on top. So it punishes you for not working as a team, although you can get away with making the odd mistake just in terms of sort of combat. But the game, generally, excellent job of kind of getting you to kind of coordinate with each other. Another way you've got that, if you look in the... Oh, hello, rat ogre. Right, let's deal with this guy first. This is one of your major special enemies. This is kind of the equivalent of the tank. Runs around, you're going to have to focus damage on him. Does a big chunk of damage, knocks you around. Let's try and take this bastard down. Big attacks, going for the head, if I can. So you can block this guy's attacks, but he is going to still knock you around. So you've got to think about where he might pitch you to. Last time I tried this, I got pitched into the water, died immediately. So you've got to think about where he's going to put you. I'm going to move around here. That's another storm vermin there. It's a special enemy. I'm going to light him up with my pistols. Take him down. Armoured enemies, hard to take down. Ooh, knocked me into the wall. Big chunk of damage. Managed to take him down. Good job by the team there. Again, that rat ogre shows up. Another special could come right behind you when you're distracted. Take out one of your teammates. Got to keep your eyes open. Anything can happen at any moment. Really nice. Keeps everything on the ball. Keeps everything tense. Got to keep your eyes open. So I want to go across here. I want to kind of wait for my teammates just in case I get downed. So I think me and this guy can go and get this barrel across here. So if you look in the bottom left, I can see my teammates there. So I can see what items they've got. So I can see they've all got a bandage item as their healing item. And our bright wizard's also got a potion as well. So if you come across a healing item, you think, should I pick this up? You can see whether or not your colleagues, what health they've got, if they've got a healing item, and if I'm going to need to take it or not. So I'm going to stay with my team here just so I don't get kind of taken out from behind. I need to get back across this bridge. So I can just push them around a bit. So I can't block with this barrel, so I'm going to have to stay with my team again. Move it across. Doing fairly well so far, so those, I think they've separated, just got to be careful of that. So our soldier's kind of been separated across, need to make sure he doesn't get jumped by a special. All the specials, all the Warhammer fans that are watching this video will be pleased. All the specials they've included are ones that are in the tabletop games. You've got rattling guns, which are quite cool, will light up one player. You've got Globadiers, who you saw, who throw the big green gas clouds around, they're in the game as well. You've got the gutter runners, who are the ones that jump on you and pin you down and drain your health. Need to get them off. I love this combat, I'm never going to get tired of this combat. Took it so clean off in one swing, really nice. So the game does a great job of just balancing the fact that you can do a lot of damage, you can take a lot of guys out, but you're not indestructible. You've got to work together as a team, you can get picked off. You're strong, but you're not indestructible, so you can't just... You can fight a lot of guys at once, as long as you coordinate, but if you don't, your teammates gets taken out. That's a rattling gun, need to take him out quick. There's my big manly pistols. Nice to take him down there, but it took quite a few shots because the pistols are generally better at taking out mass ranks of enemies. So if I had the crossbow there, I could have shot him straight in the head, might have killed him instantly. So that's an example of where maybe certain weapons work better in certain situations. So kind of single shot weapons, better for taking out single sort of special targets like rattling guns or Globadiers or rat ogres. See, another one of our teammates got separated, but quite far. Need to get them back up. Thankfully our soldier had the arquebus there, which is a single shot weapon, but he managed to take that gutter runner out from across the map. So again, my pistols, I was kind of out of range, I would have had to run closer. I found some bombs, always nice. So I'm going to cover my teammates as they move up with these barrels here. Again, dwarf got knocked off a ledge, got to go and save him. I'll pick this barrel up as he goes. So again, always want to be staying in pairs generally. So there's no one covering me now. I'm going to take a few hits. This is not going to be nice. Get the barrel in there, nicely done. So you're strong in the game, but you're by no means indestructible. And if you pay attention, you're going to get yourself. If you don't pay attention, even you're going to get yourself killed. Paying attention is a good idea. Storm vermin there, armoured enemy. So we can go for our pistols, got armour piercing. Just a nice little perk. Or we're going to have to go for big. That's when you have to use your big charge attacks. So charging up, going for the head, more damage. Regular attacks, I don't do anything. Took his head off. Very satisfying. Taking out the specials. Last barrel up. So I think we've done a fairly good job. So again, you see my teammate healed up our other teammate there. So again, the pistols, sort of quick reload, better at taking out kind of mass ranks of enemies. And hopefully we can escape now. Did this pretty quickly actually. I'm quite impressed with the team. Did a good job, and kind of helps the video be a bit streamlined. So the missions vary in length again according to what difficulty, how well you're doing. Some of them can last at least a good half an hour, even on normal. But all in all, combat's very good. Encourages to work as a team. Challenging, but if you stick together, you keep your eyes open, work as a team, you should come out okay. So because I leveled up there, get a basic weapon, and I can quickly show you the loot system as well, which should be nice. So you've had this kind of dice system, so you get the amount of dice depending on your difficulty. So normal, so you get 7 dice, and the chance of getting a hit on any of these dice is 1 and 2. You can find extra loot dice sometimes in the levels, which is going to get you, which have got slightly better odds. And we're going to roll that here. So we've got, didn't roll any hits, so this is the score here. So we're just on 1, so we just get the default weapon, which is a repeater pistol of some description, I think. Repeater rifle, maybe. It's a Grudge Rakus. This is the dwarf double barrel kind of shotgun thing, which is quite cool. Annoying thing about the loot system is I like the risk reward of it. So you play on a high difficulty, get more dice, which means you've got a better chance of kind of rolling higher up the scale, getting better quality items. But all of these are random, so you could get... This is an item that only the Dwarf Ranger can use, which happened to be here. This could have been a Witch Hunter item, could have been a Way Watcher item, could have been a Bright Wizard item. Even if you get a high quality item, it might be a high quality item for a class that you don't really like using. So, a bit of maybe a misstep, I think, in that. Bit of a shame, but it's kind of a minor gripe, but it would be nice to have the option of selecting what loot we want it for. As in what loot you want the... You want your reward to be, otherwise you're going to get, even if you get a good item, could not be for the character you want. So team did a good job here, so I'm just going to cut back and I'm going to briefly show you the kind of forge system and give you my closing remarks. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly show you the kind of forge system, which is a way of kind of making new items and upgrading the ones you've got. Then I'll kind of give you my closing remarks just to end the video off. So this is the forge system, so if you go over to the forge press E, you're going to get this. So you've got 3 things. You've got fuse, upgrade and salvage. So start with fuse, basically you put 5 items together of 1 rarity, and it's going to increase it to make a new item of a higher level than that. So for example, white is kind of common. If you put 5 white items in here, excuse me, you're going to make a green item, which is the next higher level. So for example, the problem is, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure why they've done this. If I put a pistol here, you can see it's going to create, if I put 4 more around there, it's going to create a new green set of double pistols. Thing is, if I put a non-repeater, which is a different kind of range weapon in here, it's going to create a random green weapon. So basically, if you want to create a specific weapon you want, you're going to have to randomly, remember the loot's random at the end of the games, you're going to have to get 5 of the exact same weapon for a specific class of the same rarity. So I'm going to have to get, I've got 3 non-repeaters here, 3 recurve crossbows. I'm going to have to get 5 of each of these just to make a green version of that, which just seems a bit, it just seems a bit unreasonable. It's just the option of if you mix and match a load of the crap that you don't want, at least you have a way, to be fair, of upgrading a load of stuff you're never going to use into a better version of that. So you've got a decent inventory for the higher levels. However, for some reason you don't get the option of choosing what you want to make. You have to, it's kind of random depending on what you put in, unless you put in 5 of the same item. So I'm just going to put 5 because I've got a lot of Witch Hunter gear that I'm not going to use. I'm just going to put these in. So I've got the Imperial pistols, which are green, and I've unlocked the trait, which I can show you how to do in a minute. So I've got a better pair of pistols, so I'm going to put these in. So if I had 4 more pairs of pistols, I'd get a green pistols like these ones here. I just got these from a random drop, and I've unlocked the trait, which is quite nice. Does a good bit of damage. So I'm going to put non-repeater, and let's put 2 recurve crossbows. We'll fuse that. I haven't actually done this before with 5 random items, so I'm going to see what happens. So if I fuse those together, and it's created an Imperial repeating pistol. So I've got a green repeating pistol. However, I didn't know what I was going to get. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the repeater pistol, but that's what I've created. I think it might, to be fair, be made out of one of the items you've made, which would be kind of more reasonable. So I had a pair of pistols, crossbow and repeater pistols. All of those were in, so I think what must have happened is I've got a chance of making any of those. So I've made green repeater pistol. So I've got kind of, it does slightly more damage, kind of has slightly better stats. You can see the stats than a regular version. A green item, which is the first level of rarity, has 1 trait on it, which starts as locked. So say for example my Imperial pistols, I've already unlocked the trait of this. So the green pistols, slightly better stats than the regular pistols. And I've unlocked the trait in this case, which was ammunition holder, so I get 30% more ammo. So I had about 63 ammo, I think, instead of 48, which is a really nice buff. Also kind of shows you the difference, however, between kind of the items. If you're lucky enough to get a green item, you've got 30% ammo with these pistols. If it's not overwhelming, but it's a significant advantage over 2 of the regular pistols, especially considering the stats are slightly better as well. So to unlock the traits on these, if I unlock my new repeater pistol, if I unlock the trait on that, 50% faster reload, which is really nice. So what I can do, which adequately shows you the upgrades, if I go to upgrade, put the pistol there to unlock that 1 trait. So green item has 1 trait. I need to use one of my 5 plentiful sort of upgrade kit, upgrade that. I'll then unlock the trait of that. So if I have this P2, I've now unlocked that trait, so I'll get 50% faster reload on that. And to get these things down here, you go to salvage, which is going to get you the equivalent kind. So if I salvage a white item, so again, let's go for a recurve. I'll keep the recurve crossbow. Let's get rid of the Templar rapier because I've got a better rapier there. Forget that. I'm going to salvage 2 pieces in this case. I think you normally get 1. I think sometimes you can get 2 of the plentiful upgrade, which I can use to upgrade, which I can use to unlock the traits on the green weapons. So system works fine. It's kind of a way of getting rid of your old gear. It is a little bit annoying that you get a random item of the ones you put in. So for example, I've got the repeating pistol when I would have rather had, say, a 2-handed weapon if I put a 2-handed sword in. Or I'd rather have maybe a better crossbow, which gives me kind of a green version of a kind of single damage weapon. So here I've got 2 kind of AoE war type weapons. And it does a fine job. You can salvage. It's not hard to get the plentiful crafting supplies, so you can unlock these traits quite easily. But if you are lucky enough to get a particular item you want from forging, or at the end of a game, if you roll on the loot table, you're lucky enough to get a green or even a blue item what you wanted, you unlock this trait. These traits are quite significant. You are going to have a little bit of advantage. At least it is a co-op game, but it is a little bit luck based what advantage you have. And even then when you're rolling for loot, it's random loot. You don't know what item you're going to get until you've rolled it. You could get a really nice item, but for a class you don't want. So it would be a little bit nicer just to have a bit more control over what gear you end up with. So you end up with the right weapon that you want for the right class that you want. Just so you have the option. You're playing with kind of teammates. You want to have the right gear for the right class. It just makes it more fun. So you're not stuck with worse gear on your favourite class. It just would be nice to have a bit more control over what you do. So that pretty much wraps out all the mechanics. I think I've covered everything I need to cover. So as it comes to it, would I recommend this game? I've enjoyed it very much. I am going to recommend it, however I am going to do so cautiously. The reason for that is, probably the biggest gripe a lot of people have found with this game is it doesn't run particularly well. The system requirements are quite demanding, but even then, a lot of people have found with kind of even high-end or top-end PCs, it's not quite running. It's only just come out of beta, but it is fully released now. It's not really running as well as it should on a lot of high-end systems. I was okay. I normally run this, it rarely dips below 60. Sometimes I get about 50, 45, 50 FPS. When I'm not recording. When I was recording, I was getting about the same. It dipped a bit lower in certain areas, obviously because I'm recording. That's to be expected. But I've got pretty, by no means a top end, but a pretty high end PC. This is a new PC. I'm able to run the Witcher 3 without any problems. With the kit I've got, I can run it okay. I should really be getting a constant 60. A lot of people have found, even sometimes with better systems than mine, it's not running as well as it should. So I do very much enjoy this game. It is good fun, great combat. Crafting systems a little bit disappointing, but it's only kind of a minor gripe with the game. Combat's really fun, characters are great, they're all nice bit of variety. Weapons are really fun, nice variety in the weapons as well. It is a cautious recommendation. If you're looking at thinking of buying this game and you felt like you enjoyed the footage, I would recommend it. However, before you do so, just check your specs. I'll just post my specs in the on the screen here, so you can just see what my specs are. I can run this fine. However, I have found a lot of people are complaining online that it's not running as well as they should. For the kind of mid-end specs, it should be running better. And even on higher end specs, some of those even better than mine. People are having difficulty running this. A lot of the time they're kind of only just over 30 FPS, which is kind of not really acceptable. So just do a little bit of research before you game. Just make sure if your system specs even aren't quite as good as mine, just check you're able to run the game okay. It's going to run on your system nicely. And say the video card you've got and you've got enough RAM, the video card you've got isn't kind of known to have problems with this game. The last patch did a little bit good, I think, kind of helped it out a bit, is slightly better, but there are still problems going on. So just make sure, if your PC is good enough to run this, do please pick it up. Really good fun game. It's only about 25 quid. It's got a reasonable price for a new release. Big variety of missions, really atmospheric, great fun. Just make sure your PC is going to be able to run it first. So just before you pick the game up, do a little bit of research, make sure you're okay. If you can run it fine, do please pick it up. If you're a Warhammer fan, if you're a Left 4 Dead fan, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't enjoy this. It's great fun. And I think that pretty much wraps up what I want to say. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed watching the video, please a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Quite a small channel, just helps boost up the viewership a bit. Would really help me out. Any feedback, please leave in the comments below. I'll try and see if I can incorporate that. See if I can kind of improve on the next video. Any questions you still got, anything you want to clarify, please again leave that below in the comments. I'll see if I can answer it. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.